In fact, he loves the great copper dome there to the left, the magnificent Doric columns, and the glorious vestibule and entrance area of Somerset House. Mind you, we do know Charles. He does like the older things in life, does he not? Buildings, madam, buildings. I'm having trouble with you lot, I can see that today. Buildings, how dare you. Now, in my lifetime, it was used by the Registrar General to record all the births, marriage and deaths of the people of these islands. And it was known affectionately in the civil service as the Hatcham, Matcham and Dispatcham Department. The Wellington there, the vessel to the left, formerly a great gunboat in the First World War, used ostensibly in the Southern Oceans and in the New Zealand Navy. Brought here quite a few years ago. It's now the official floating livery hall of the Honourable Company of Master Mariners. You had to be 15 years under articles in the Merchant Navy or 15 years in the service of the Crown in the Royal Navy to join this illustrious band of men. Their logo's encrypted upon the funnel. Now at the rear end of it, at the back, you'll see Temple Arch here, hewn into the stonework to face small Father Thames, looking down benignly upon our beautiful Royal Highway. Now across here, it marks the boundary between the great city of Westminster, the city of royalty, power and politics we're now leaving. We've now entered the great city of London, 1 square mile, but it does have 32 enormous boroughs. The city of finance, trade, commerce, money. Now, all the way from the Temple Arch here, the river wall right down to the Tower Road Bridge marks the western boundary of the 1 square mile. To the right-hand side, the Oxo Tower, sitting on that great red and white brick building. This was formerly the largest meat and coal store in London town, in fact in southern England. Built by Lord Vestey in the 30s, he became very rich and famous, importing meat from Australia and South America for his Oxo Meat Cube and Fray Bentos corned beef label. The glazed area at the top, the famous Harvey Nichols restaurant of Brasserie. Make sure you've got a checkbook or a mortgage. To the left-hand side, the green sloping roofs of the wonderful Greater London School for Boys. The new part is just below the bridges here. Now this, they've had a stipend since 1441 to educate the boys of London town. And many of our great parliamentarians have all received their early education there. I have to stress, of course, it doesn't make it a bad school. Now, we have the Blackfriars Road and the Blackfriars Rail. I'd like you to notice the pulpit-like structures on the road bridge here, placed here at the express wish of Queen Victoria, in memory of the great Dominican Blackfriars Monastery that lay to the left-hand side on the North Shore, sadly now which there is no trace, hence the structures. As we go through, you'll see the railway bridge is undergoing extensive widening for the forthcoming millennium year, Olympic year. But please look at the columns of the great bridge that no longer stands. This was formerly the Alexander Railway Bridge, the very first railway bridge ever to cross the river, pre the Chatham, Kent and Dover Railway, across the river and in St Paul's Railway Station in London town. They've utilised the first abutment and column here to widen the newest bridge. Now when we exit this bridge, you've got to look back on the port quarter on the left side at the back. I'll point out between the two tower cranes, one of the most beautiful spires of any church anywhere in the world. This is St Bride's, the Wedding Cake Church. Sir Christopher Wren built it, his daughter got married in it, and the baker made a cake exactly like it to celebrate the two occasions. All wedding cakes try to look like that, built in tiers. Can you see that? Bit of a Michael Caine that, isn't it? Not many people know that, do they? St Bride's, the Wedding Cake Church in Fleet Street. Now Sir Christopher Wren, he built nearly 50 or 60 churches after the Great Fire. He built the great Naval College and Hospital at Greenwich for going to sea for the Admiralty. But there to the left is his masterpiece, his #1 St Paul's Cathedral, rising 365 feet, the same number of days in a year from the street level. 35 years in construction and completed in 1710. The great man, of course, he rests in the crypt, and on his tomb a very simple inscription. Translated from the Latin, it reads, "If you seek my monument, look around you." What an epitaph to an incredible man. Norman Foster's Blade of Light, the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. To the right-hand side, the thatch roof on the white building there. Travelled and drawboard in English oak, there are no iron fastenings. An exact copy of Shakespeare's Globe Playhouse Theatre. Now you can enjoy all of Shakespeare's plays there from May till September in the summer months, and enjoy them exactly as you would have done in the Elizabethan era, the 1600s, except for one thing: the smell of the audience. Hopefully they've all had a bath, but normally there's always one, and I'll tell you, he sits next to me on the train going home. Now all this area from the bank side here right down to the Tower Road Bridge, this traditionally was the red light district of medieval England. This was known as the Stews of Southwark, 80 square acres, given via a royal warrant directly to the notorious Bishops of Winchester. They controlled the entire shooting match, but no jollification was allowed on the other shore in the confines of the 1 square mile. We had to come across London Bridge, the only bridge that existed, or we rode across by a licensed man. They controlled the 4 theatres: the Globe, the Hope, the Swan, the smallest, the Little Rose. We had Bear Wharf here. They controlled the bear baiting, the cockfighting and the bullpits. Also, all the inns and taverns, just like the Anchor at Bankside there on the right-hand side. Been there since 1615. They also controlled, dare I say, the ladies of the night and the numerous houses of ill repute. For this was Hell's Half Acre, the haunt of both priest and prostitute. And from this area, the bishops gathered and gleaned a king's ransom. Question: what did they do with the money? Answer: they built Winchester Cathedral with its magnificent flying buttresses. Winchester Wharves here reminds us of the tremendous dominance and sway that the bishops had over this area. In the St Mary Overy dock, there's an exact copy of the Pelican, later renamed the Golden Hind, Sir Francis Drake's flagship. Now he circumnavigated the world and he plundered the Spanish Main, knighted by Queen Elizabeth. Now this, however, is not a toy ship built in Appledore in Devon. It's actually made more journeys and voyages and sea miles than the original. They do say it will sail again one day. We have the 4 delicate spires of Southwark Cathedral, the 3rd largest place of Christian worship after St Paul's and the Westminster Abbey. It's been a place of Christian worship for over 900 years, and incidentally Edmund Shakespeare, William's younger brother, he rests there in the churchyard. Now this is London Bridge. Don't confuse it with Tower Bridge. We've had 4 bridges here since Roman times. The first one 49 AD. They've been pulled down, washed down, burnt down and taken down. This one opened by Her Majesty the Queen in 1973. You can see here to the left-hand side the monument to the Great Fire of London of 1666. The tall historic column in the world, surmounted by a golden brazier, 202 feet tall, designed by Robert Hooke and built by Sir Christopher Wren. Great Fire raged for 3 days and 3 nights, was only put out by an act of God, for it rained for a week afterwards, not before 3/4 of London's town burnt to the ground. The Blue Glass Building, this is the home, training ground and headquarters of the International Consortium of Window Cleaners. Just testing, madam, just to see if you're on the ball. Very good. It's actually home to the Daily Express and the Hello magazine. Oh, hello. Hello. The Golden Weather Vanes with sadness. This, for hundreds of years, was the great Billingsgate Fish Market. They've closed it, moved it down to the West India Dock, for greater road and rail access.